Gotta trust and believe. You got it, 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 you got it. So let nothing hold you down. Oh no, nobody can stop you now. Oh, you got it.
What's up, everybody? I am VanSwan, and on today's episode, Conversation with Van, I get the opportunity to talk to someone who means the world to me. So it goes God, and then right after him is this person right here. She is the queen of my heart. She is the reason for my existence. She is my mother. She is a mother to not only me, but to my beautiful sister. She's a wife. She's a sister. She is a leader of a women's group. She is so many different wonderful and great things, but most importantly, she is a woman of God. We're also going to talk to my dad. I have the opportunity to have two dads, my stepfather, my biological father. But today we get the opportunity to talk to my dad. Mom, welcome to the show. Everybody put your hands together and give it up for my mom, Miss, what you want to be called? Miss Taylor, Miss Felicia. I'm gonna call her Miss Felicia. All right, Miss Felicia. Thank you for talking to me. I know you're kind of shy. You don't want to be on camera, but at least this is fun. We can just gonna sit and talk. So first question is, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Okay, Dallas, Texas. So what brought you to California? Because you're in California now. This ain't Dallas.
My father was living here along with my mama Betty, and that brought me here. I loved it, and I stayed.
Yeah. So Dallas, Texas is where you're originally from, and I know that's where Grandma is, your birth mother, or Grandma was. Rest her soul. She just recently passed. But tell me about your childhood. Like, what was your what school did you go to? Take me back to little Felicia.
I did Amelia Earhart.
Okay.
In Dallas, Texas. I did some elementary in California.
So how old were you when you moved to California? Do you remember the age?
I was 9 years old. Yes, because I went to Juniper Elementary School here in California.
Juniper, that's in Montana, right? Montana, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in Dallas, did a couple of schooling out there, then you moved out here. You said to move with your dad. And stepmom, Step Granny, shout out to Granny, and Papa rest in peace. Yeah, so take me to what middle school? What was that like? Do you remember middle school? What was Felicia like in middle school? What was she doing? What was she into?
At Alder, I was very active.
Okay.
I love the middle school.
You love middle school?
At that time, they called it the junior high school.
It was junior high.
Yes. So I loved that. I was pretty active, and I did very well in school. I was in track. I did track. I
know you ran track.
Yeah, I did a little bit of it.
I ran track.
I did a little bit of track.
I didn't know you ran track.
And then I went on and I did, they call it pep squad.
Okay.
I tried out for drill team, and I made drill team as well. So
so you got a little rhythm.
So I did a little something.
You got a little rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you got it.
Right. Okay. You graduated from Faux High, right?
Yes, I went to Fontana High, which is Faux High.
What was that like? Tell me about Felicia in high school.
High school was good. Like I was in the choir there, and I did well.
Oh, so you joined the choir in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did so well until I only had like one class in my senior year, but I also I had about three guys asked me for the prom, so I went to the prom about 3 times.
You went to 3 proms?
I went to 3 proms. Look
at you.
I didn't even go to my own prom. So
I didn't know that either. I went to 2 proms. I went to my prom, and then I went to Cajon's prom, so I didn't know that. We had that in common. So you went to 3 proms, but didn't go to your own prom. Why you didn't go to your own prom?
Because I enjoyed all these other ones.
You was over it?
I was through with it.
So you missed out on your own prom.
Yes, I did. But
do you have any regrets about that?
I do not, because I had a good time. And I was blessed to go 3 times. So I always loved to sing. But it started more when I was in choir, church choir.
Papa was a pastor, her father. So was that the choir you're talking about? You're talking about the St. Timothy Community Church where he was the pastor of.
Yes, that too. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was in it. I was in everything at St. Timothy.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I was pretty faithful there. And still is.
Because you're still there even after his passing. And he passed in 98.
Yes.
So it's 2020. So you've been there a long time. All of your life. That's your only church that you've ever attended?
Well, when I first came, we was going to Reverend Mims' church.
What was that like, being a preacher's kid? Because I'm a preacher's kid. Tell me what that felt like.
Oh, it was okay, but I didn't have a problem with it. But, you know, sometimes other people have a problem with it. They always judging the preacher's kids. They always thinking we the worst kids, but it was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
So how did you deal with that, with people always having opinions and perceptions and always having something to say just because of the position that you're in that you didn't ask for? It was just kind of just handed down because you didn't ask to be a preacher's kid, right?
I didn't.
You know, so what was that like? How did you deal with that?
I just dealt with it. I just continue to be faithful. You know, a lot of times, especially the women, they get jealous and the favoritism. You know, you get that favoritism type of thing.
So people thought that
because you the pastor's daughter, that you getting all this, favoritism stuff.
So how do you deal with that? I mean, what was the things that you just
kept praying?
Kept praying?
Kept praying and kept going. I was still their friends. They learned, they got to know me for who I am, you know. They got to know Felicia. They used to say, because I was so quiet, they used to say I was stuck up. I was always...
Wow. I know people say that about me because of the same reason.
I was always,
wow.
was titled as a stuck up person. But it wasn't that. They just had to get to know me, because I was very quiet. And then they always say, well, smile, because I was quiet. I was just quiet, didn't smile, but I wasn't sad. I was happy. I was okay. I was just being me.
Just being you. That's so crazy because, Mom, honestly, sometimes I feel I have to put on a little extra when I'm around people because if I don't and I'm just being me, which is quiet and chill and just like, they would ask, what's wrong? Smile. You good? What's wrong? And I'm like, actually, this is me. Wow. So you came out here to a blended family.
Yes.
Because you're the oldest of what turned out to be 4 siblings, right? So it's you, and then it's Auntie Nisi, rest in peace.
And then it was your
Uncle Ronald, and then Paula, Auntie Paula. So it is 4 of you guys. So what was it like being the oldest?
It was okay.
It was okay?
Do
you like being the oldest?
Yeah.
What was the perks of being the oldest?
I mean, I was okay but only thing is the oldest, they always held the oldest responsible for everything.
Because you were the first to go through everything.
Yeah. But other than that, it was cool.
Your sister, Auntie Nisi, she passed in 2016. Give me a fond memory that you have of her. It could be a childhood. It could be anything. Just tell me one thing that, like, if you don't mind.
Just love that we got along. I mean, we was totally different, like day and night almost, But that was my sister, and we were still close regardless, we were still close. And then when I had you, well, no, not you. Let me see.
Ajane had to be.
It had to be Ajane.
That's my sister. Shout out to Ajane. We're going to talk to her in a little bit, too.
I had Ajane. I was, when I was pregnant with her, I had to call. My husband was at work. He worked, and I didn't have no one at home. And so I was going into labor, and she was driving, but I was just pushing down on the floor like it was, because I was going through all these pains and stuff. But she got me there, and I just thank God for her because she did, God bless her soul, but she just barely made it. And I wasn't there hardly no time, and she Aljanae came. And that was my daughter, Aljanae. She came, your sister. She came.
I remember because you said
I got there just in time. My sister went out. She hadn't even parked the car. She said, "I'll be back. I'm gonna park the car." And by the time she came back, they done wheeled me up in there, and the child done came, and my husband didn't even get to see me have her because it was too late. She came so fast.
I remember that. I was at school when all this happened.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing the story. You said, about time Auntie done parked the car, I done had this baby.
Yeah.
You always have some interesting stories when it comes to having babies because you had me on Christmas.
Yeah, I had you on Christmas.
So,
Day.
what's going on with these interesting deliveries?
I don't know, but God was with me. I know that much. After I had you, push you out, your grandmother had to. I used to drink a lot of water. So because I had drunk so much water, I was in labor, and I was pushing all that water, pushed you out. And that's how you came out.
Granny caught me.
Your granny was there, and your granny had to back up just to catch you because there was so much water that pushed you out.
Oh, Lord.
So...
Wow.
It was interesting.
And I remember, even we're talking about that, Granny, she told me that she caught me.
Yes.
And I guess for some reason, the doctors, everybody kind of forgot.
Like,
yeah, so she was like, if y'all don't get this warm.
Get this baby, because clean this baby up, clean.
Oh my goodness. So you weren't even the first person to embrace me. It was Granny.
No, I was not. They put you on my... No, you know what? It was your
It was great.
Yeah.
Let me talk about me just a little bit. What was it like raising me? Because for a long time, for the first 5 years, it was just you and I.
Yeah. It was all about us.
It was all about us.
Every Sunday, when we went to church, we was very faithful going to church. So that never stopped me from going to church. When I got pregnant, I just still continued. That didn't stop me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a single mother, and it didn't stop me. I kept going, and I kept going. Things didn't look very well, didn't look good, but I kept going. The situation, there was no regrets. Being pregnant with you, there was no regrets at all, none at all. We just did everything together.
You had me dressed. Looking back on them baby pictures, I was like, I had that. Honestly, you had me dressed.
I could do it. It was just me and you, and I love clothes.
Because you were working at Nordstrom.
I made sure you looked nice. You didn't have to want for nothing. So I just thank God for the blessing, for the job. I thank Him for, your granny and your papa, because they stepped in and helped. So I was grateful for that. But I was still putting money in the bank to save.
Come on, you better be a saver.
Did that, but I still did my little shopping.
You like to dress.
I like to
so
dress.
What made you get into that? Because you switch your hairstyle every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I do that too, low key.
Yeah, I do.
You always like to dress.
I love that.
I do that low key. Like, where did this come from though? Like, what was your inspiration? What made you want to get into like changing the hairstyles or wearing the cool clothes? Where did it come? It's just you?
Just me.
Yeah. Wow. So let's fast forward to, I believe it was 93 or 94. You met this really cool guy named Howard Taylor.
92 was the year.
92.
Oh, he in the corner correcting me.
Yeah.
92 was the year. Come on, join the comment. Come on, make some room. What's up, Dad?
Yeah, it was December 92 when we met.
Can I introduce you though? He's like, I'm gonna come. I'm just gonna tell everybody. So everybody, look, let me give you a backstory. So this is my dad, man. Remember I told you I have a very wonderful story. I have 3 parents. To me, that's a blessing because it all helps to complete me.
It was a barbecue at my brother-in-law's house and my sister-in-law who has passed away. At that time, she was still a Brown. And we was over there one time. And then I saw a picture of my wife and VanSwan when he was a little kid. And I said, who is that? And he said, that's my sister-in-law. I said, she married? And he said, no. And I said, well, introduce us. And he said, she's going to be over here next weekend. And then we met, and kind of, so to speak, the rest is history. Here we are 25 years later.
Wow.
And, it's been a really great thing. But
so let's fast forward to 94. November. Y'all got married.
Yeah, we got engaged in that same year in May 12th. Just so y'all know, she asked me to marry her.
What? Did you?
Yes,
That's a true story?
Yes, she asked me to marry her.
Mama, I ain't never known that.
Because I was taking too long, y'all.
I
was taking too long, and I thought I wasn't ready financially, so that was the issue. Other than that, we worked all those things out, and then 6 months later, we got married. My father-in-law, who married us, took me, gave me a ride to the church to marry his daughter, because I don't think he wanted the change of heart that happened before.
I did not know that you asked, Mama. Now, why are you asking this man to marry you?
Well, no, just so y'all know that I did it the right way. Yeah.
He wanted to do it the right way.
I went to her dad and asked him, can I have his daughter's marriage, hand in marriage? And he said, yes. He said, get her out of my pocket. That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. He said, just a little bit of history. My dad said, come back to Texas, marry a Texas woman, and all that can cook and all that stuff. And then I said, well, Dad, I already met a woman that was born in the same hospital, same city, and in the same state and everything, right out here in California. And he got to see her, before he passed away. God rest his soul. So that's the history.
My question to you is, what was it like coming to a situation with a woman who already had a child?
Well, in the beginning, I always told my friends that I would never marry anybody that already had kids. But because I really wanted to be with the woman that I'm married to now, even though she had a child already, that kind of went out the window. And all I can say about that is never say never.
Even with that being said, not only did she have a child, she's older than you. So what was it like dating an older woman?
It's easy because a real woman knows what she wants. And I think I was mature enough to know that, what I wanted was that exactly what I got, a real woman that knew what she wanted. And we both kind of wanted the same thing at the same time. So that worked out.
So you married someone who had a child, fell in love with her, didn't care about the logistics, the past, the baggage that could come with someone who had a kid, and all of that. What made you want to develop a relationship with me? Because you came right in and you loved me as if I came from you. I've never felt like you weren't my dad, even though there were moments where as a kid, I've missed the connection with my biological father, which brought up forth some kind of resentment, especially when Ajane came into the picture, seeing her with her parents. But even with that, it still didn't take away from how you treated me. Even when as a teenager, I could have had attitudes and, you still loved me and you still, so where did that come from? Because not only did you raise me, you've also raised your nephew, which is from the time he was, about 5 years, about the same age. So you took on two people's kids, basically, you know what I mean? And loved them as your own. So tell me, where did that come from and how was that experience for you?
It was upbringing, because that's what my parents, my grandparents, all my family members, they advocated that, no matter what we have as far as mended, blended, and extended family, and I got that from my mother-in-law, your granny. You love people because that's what's in your heart to do. It doesn't matter that they're not yours or whatever, the biological part of it. But if you think about it, that's what Jesus did. That's what he did. He loved in spite of and contrary to, common vernacular belief or whatever you want to call it. He loved, and he still does. And that's what, as Christian people, that's what we do.
Because you had me, Mom, at 27. Now you done met this man who has no kids at all. So did you feel pressure to have kids, or did you something that you wanted to because you had Ajane 10 years later. Did you want to do it, or was it something that you felt like, you know what, I gotta get this man a baby because he done took care of mine. He taking care, like I owe him something now.
We wanted that girl. We wanted a daughter. Yeah, it took a while. Took a while for her to come, but we kept trying.
Yeah,
because we had miscarriages along the way.
Yeah, but Dad, tell me, what is it like to have your own now? Finally, you got your own. Somebody that looked dead like you, just with some hair on her. So what was that like?
She looked like me.
She do. She looked like you a little bit.
It's
Some days.
Awesome experience to have, your own flesh and blood biologically and all that stuff. If it would have never happened, I still would be okay. But I'm glad that we do have that to share, with one another. My nephew, who is my youngest brother's son, we have our issues with him and everything, but I still, I'm proud of my kids.
So, Dad, tell me a little bit about your upbringing. I know we're talking about Mom, and we just kind of jumped into the love story, but who was Lil Howard?
Howard was a big-headed guy who was born in Dallas, Texas. We moved to Chicago, lived there for 12 years, moved back, finished junior high and high school. Always had a heart to work and make money, and that was just kind of my drive. A couple years out of high school, I went into the military. Did my 4 years in the military, got out, came out here in California.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
You and my grandma, rest in peace, y'all had that special connection where on Sundays y'all was watching the Dallas Cowboys. It doesn't matter if she was in Texas and he was here, they was on the phone watching the whole game, just talking. And it was just hilarious to see them interact with each other.
Football was always my favorite sport because I was the best at it. And I didn't really get into football until I was a teenager. And I was, just started sitting down and watching football with my dad.
All right, so Ajane, what's up, little sis?
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
You're good. So me and Ajane are night and day. She's super quiet. Hi, shy. I'm little Felicia, how she was when I was that age. I know how to turn that switch on. But Ajane, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get, hey. Where'd that come from? Have you always been this little reserved, timid?
Yes.
Yeah?
Very much so.
Yeah? Are you shy, or that's just like, what is that?
No, I'm just antisocial.
Yeah, antisocial kind of. Okay. So you and I are 10 years apart. Mm-hmm. We're so far apart that our bonding experience, I was just really protective over you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what, if anything, I was really protective. Remember, you could not leave a room without giving me a kiss on my forehead. We had this little kiss. It was, and we did it all the time.
But I think it's pretty cool to have an older brother. I think it's a little better.
Why do you think it's better?
Because then you have someone to protect you.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, what was it like having Mom and Dad in the same house?
It's good, but then you have some people who don't have a dad in their life or something, and they always look at you like it's your fault that you have both parents. I mean, it's cool, but it's also kind of like, why are you mad at me? Because my parents are both together, Did you ever feel like I looked at you some kind of way or treated you a certain type of way? Because
Because I really wanted to make sure I never treated you. You were always my baby sister, but there was when you first came, there was a little resentment. Even I was just like, man, she got from mama, there was a little bit of resentment, but then it became like, she can't help that. Just like you said, she can't help. And me as an adult, I would not want my life to go any other way. Mm-hmm. Life without this man, she wouldn't have had it. You know what I mean? If things wouldn't have been the way it was supposed to have been, you know what I mean? So I'm so grateful to God that my life turned out the way it was. But while in the midst of it, of course, quite naturally, you expect or you dreamed or envision things to be a certain way. And when it's not, you kind of become disappointed or resentful or whatever. But I worked really hard to try to just make sure I just loved on my little sister, even though there were times where I did feel a certain type of way. But I'm so glad that you didn't feel that.
No, I didn't feel it.
Good. So 2003, our mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And you were relatively young.
when all that was going on. So I'm sure I remember more than you do, but describe that time for you. What was that feeling like for you? Because for me, the only thing and the only person I thought about was you. Honestly, like I was thinking like, Lord, please protect my mom and heal her because she has a daughter and my sister needs a mama. Like she needs a mother. And I was like, if it was just gonna be me and dad raising you, okay, we'll do it. But I didn't want that life for you. So that was the first thought more than anything, honestly, was like, Lord, protect my mom because she got this little girl. And she like, that was really what it was. So what was you thinking?
I don't really think I knew much about it. Yeah, I don't think so because I don't remember anything. But I do remember being at Auntie Paula's house and being with her. And I just remember like them taking me somewhere, a water park or something. And I think that they were just trying to like distract me. So I really don't remember much. But when I did see my mom, I didn't recognize her. I could say that. I know I didn't recognize her because I think she got a haircut. Well, to me, I thought she just got a haircut or something, but I didn't even recognize her. I just walked right past her.
Dad, what was that experience like for you?
Well, the initial reaction of the whole thing was that when she was diagnosed and found out that she had to go through the surgery, her and her mom went for consultation and everything. And then her question was, what about my kids? You guys were young, and Ajane was maybe, 2 or 3 years old, so she was still, pretty much a baby. And so that would have been, kids growing up without their mom. And we didn't know because of cancer, when you hear about people having cancer, you think about, you don't have long to live. And so with God's blessing and the miraculous thing that happened is that everything happened where the cancers, lymph nodes, whatever, went to one spot and they was able to aggressively go in and get it all. And here we are 15, 16 years later, in remission. And for me, when my wife asked that question, I almost started crying like a baby because now, my kids are going to grow up without their mom. And that was a big concern. Praise God that she's still here.
Yeah.
And now, you guys are grown.
There's so many wonderful lessons in this conversation. One about the importance of keeping God first and making him the center of your family. Embracing the differences. We're a blended family. We have each other's back, and that's so important. You raising kids who aren't your own and loving them as your own is a testament. You being a cancer survivor and a single mother and dealing with people ridiculing you and talking about you because of your past and whatever that, and you being a virtuous and blessed woman now and having your kids and Ajane doing what she's doing and going after her dreams and finding her own path and her own purpose, and William, our cousin, him finding his own path and being him and even seeing the great things that God has done even in his life, because his disability or the things that the doctors put on him and the labels that he put on him that he wasn't going to be able to do this and have a normal job and all. He working and doing a whole bunch of stuff that normal people do. Normal people. You lost both of your parents. You have lost your mom, your biological mom, and our grandfather, your dad. We're blessed to still have Granny. Shout out, let's say hi to Granny.
Hi, Granny.
Hey, Granny. We're so
Granny.
blessed to still have you, but you also lost your sister. So we've had loss in our family, so different things. But what could you guys, or one of you, mom, dad, and even you, Ajahn, if you have something to say, what could you say to someone who's dealing with grief in their family, who's lost a parent, who's lost a sister, who's lost, someone close to them? What could you say? Because it's very fresh for us, even now when it comes to our grandmother, but what could you say to somebody who's dealing with grief?
Well,
I would say keep the memories alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That helps. Just, whatever they did that was happy, just keep that alive. Keep that memories alive. I think that would take you a long way. I know my mom loved she loved the Cowboys, and she drank Coca-Cola. And so on Christmas, our first year of Christmas, I decorate the Christmas tree with Coca-Cola because that was what she loved to do. She loved to drink her Coca-Cola. So just keep their memories alive. You know, even with my dad, I think I got more into church, even more, and more stronger, you know, doing things in the church after he left. So just keep their memories alive. That goes along.
Things. I think for me, especially when it comes to Auntie, I can give you something for each person. Auntie is definitely like, whenever Erykah Badu come on, I'm thinking about Auntie on and on, or Anita Baker or something like that. I'm that's instantly a memory that I'm always going to cherish. When she would take us to track practice, me and my cousin Tanika, like she would play the Erykah Badu, and so those are the memories that I remember. And Grandma, like you said, the Coke, she would always call me my boy. My boy, that's my boy. That's what Grandma would always call me. And one of my fondest memories of Grandma, most recently, was me playing a song on my album. My album Love Is. There was a song called Faith, which is a remake of We Come This Far by Faith, Leaning on the Lord. So I was playing her that song, which had a different vibe to it. But she was sitting on the little couch and I was playing for her. She was doing her little shoulder little move, and I was like, it just made me feel really good to know that my 70-something-year-old grandmother was grooving to my music, and it made me feel really good. And Pawpaw, my grandfather, so many memories. My favorite memory of Pawpaw is him being in the pulpit telling people to shut up. Even your mom. We went to Texas, and her coming here and living with us, Grandma, it was just so many wonderful memories of just spending time with her and getting to know her and living with us and that whole experience, because the best way to get to know, your parents is to know their parents. To pick out the brains or to be able to talk to your mom was amazing, so just everything. So you guys stay encouraged. Remember, let nothing or nobody stop you from reaching your maximum potential. Be great and do great. Keep God first, all right? Peace.
Amen.